I'm going to address a comment that somebody left for me. And this is the video where I am talking about the teacher that punished a little black boy for saying ma'am. Okay. So this person decided to attack me for addressing this issue. And I'm going to read her answer and, what she posted in the comment section. And I'm going to give my answer back to her. Lisa Cabrera, please stop blaming Black people for the fact that they have little to no option when it comes to childcare and homeschool. And if they're going to keep a roof over their head. Okay, so you sound like you don't protect your kid because you got to keep a roof over your head. So anything these teachers do to your child in school, the only thing you see in this whole thing is keeping a roof over your head. And this is what's wrong with Black parents today. Y'all don't do enough to protect your kids. Even when I watch the news, a teacher, your kid come home with bruises all over him, and you standing there holding your child. I just want to know what happened. Okay, so you have no choice. You got to keep a roof over your head. You don't know how to keep a roof over your head and protect your child at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. But let me go on. While making bare minimum in the United States of America, and you as a Black woman should know this unless you are middle class Black woman. No, I don't know that, because even a poor mother should be able to protect their child, even if you are in a position where you can't get them out of the school. You are still capable of educating your kid. Why is it that our people believe the only one on this planet that can educate your kid is your enemy? There is no other way for your kid to get an education. First of all, you as a mother, rich or poor, when that child comes through your door, you should still be educating them. I did that with my son. My son didn't get hardly no Black history, but when he got home, I had books and I had all kinds of ways of teaching him Black history that never was taught in his school. So you're saying that you don't have a choice, your hands are tied. As a Black woman, I need to understand that you have to send your kid to school. And if they get beat up on psychologically by these kids, I need to understand this. No, I will never understand that, which most of us are not. And the only way to make a living is to send your child to public school. Then that's what you're going to do. We've been learning the hard way since we were exiled from Israel. Oh my God. None of that's going to change until the day of the Lord declares it. So to sit there and point fingers at this poor mother whose child is traumatized, and traumatizing for me to hear you say that. I like your channel, but you are ill sometimes when it comes to our people and your judgments of them. You're not God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Even a poor parent can protect their child from being traumatized. And for you to point your finger at me over what a teacher did to a 10-year-old in class and me addressing it, to me, that makes you ill. So in this whole story, you don't see any problem other than me addressing it. You haven't brought one thing up about the teacher and what happened to this child. and this child being traumatized when the mother picked the child up, there's plenty this mother can do as a poor woman. Number one, if she's not getting the results from the school that she's looking for, she can take this to the school board and the superintendent. Trust me, say superintendent to these principals when they're not helping you. I promise you, you're going to get a whole different attitude. You know why? Because they don't like being reported. They don't like being reported. So even a poor parent can report a teacher and make demands. Instead of coming to me, why are you not demanding that this teacher get removed for her inappropriate attitude towards a child that's trying to be polite? The Most High is not going to judge me. He's going to judge people like you. You know why? Pick up the Bible and you tell me where Israelite children went to school every day. They didn't, because back in those times, everybody educated their own children. It didn't matter if you were the richest parent or the poorest parent. Whatever child you had, you educated that child yourself. Even if your child is in public school, you should still be educating your children at home. I did it. I did not have a lot, and I did it all the time. I showed my son math. When we used to do math, and if they were talking about apples and oranges, I got apples and oranges. And we rolled those apples and oranges around on the table until he knew how to add and subtract. It doesn't matter if you're a poor parent, you can still do stuff like that. So even if you have to send your child to public school, which I wouldn't recommend because you see the overall nature of these teachers. But if you have to do it, it is up to you as a parent when that child get home to undo all of the psychological damage that has been done to your child. It this kills me that in this whole story, you've come to attack me and not the system and the teacher that did this to a child. That no, you are sick. You are sick. And this is wrong. This is the problem with too many Black parents today. You're too accepting of what others do to your child, others outside of who you are to your child. What I'm saying to you is not traumatizing at all. What that teacher did is, I have seen these same teachers emasculate Black male children in classrooms for little to nothing. I've seen it, even when I was a child in school. And these teachers are not always right. They're not always right. Sometimes they're more flawed than the students. Your answer is very defeatist because what you're saying, even as a poor parent, I don't care what you say. I'm carting my kid off to school. If anything happens, oh well, I have no recourse because I'm poor. I don't have a lot. I got to keep a roof over my head. So whatever my kid got to go through at school, so be it. You, Lisa, you need to shut up and stop pointing fingers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what's wrong with our community. We are a people that's totally defeated. This is a defeatist answer. This is a defeatist statement right here. School or no school, every parent should be teaching their kid. You should be making your kid understand the challenges that they have, but there is nothing they can't do. Yeah, there's challenges because of what you are, but don't let that stop you from going out here in the world and pursuing the things that you want. See, these folks, they have to sabotage you because if they don't sabotage our kids and not allow them to believe in themselves because they're going to excel right past them. That's our history. We will up and excel right past these folks. When our folks came over here as slaves, do you think they went to school? No, but they had more knowledge and skills than the people that were enslaving them. Even to this day, look at these folks. They own the farms, but they can't even work their own farms. They got to bring in other people to maintain their farms. Look over in South Africa. They own the farms, but look who's maintaining those farms. Those black South Africans are maintaining and working those farms every day, not the people that own the farm. Okay? That should tell you a lot right there. It should tell you a lot. If these people are so capable, how come the South went through a famine after the slaves left the plantation? If their men were so capable of everything, how come the Confederate soldiers were junkies? They were heroin junkies. They were drug addicts. The South fell apart because those people weren't capable of doing their own work, and their men were not capable of leading because when they came out of that war, they were junkies. If you know and understand the history, you would never let these people preach down to you about nothing. Rich or poor, can't you teach your child to believe in themselves? Even a poor parent can teach a child to believe in themselves. So everything they tear down, you build up. That's free. And that should not interfere with you putting a roof over your head. I'm not traumatizing your child, but they are. Your child is already advanced at birth. Do you know black babies are more advanced than their babies? Can do more, have better motor skills and everything at birth? It didn't matter if the mother that birthed that child was rich or poor in our community. That child is still more advanced. This is why they spend a lifetime in our community doing everything they can to sabotage us and slow us down. Homeschooling really is not hard. It isn't. I did it. I still do it. It's not hard. And the beautiful part about it, you can teach that child what you want them to learn. All this George Washington and that stuff is of no use to Black children. Their history, that colonial history, is of no use to a Black child. Black children need to learn about themselves, not about others. So the beautiful part is you can teach them what you want, and those things that you don't care about, you can X that off of the curriculum. But even if you are keeping a roof over your head, it is up to you as a mother to make sure the psychological damage that they're getting from these people are minimal. That is your responsibility as a parent, rich or poor. And it is your responsibility to protect your child. And when they fail, to do their job in protecting your child, then you start demanding that these teachers get removed. And that's something that we absolutely can do, whether you're rich or poor. You can demand that that teacher that made a big deal out of ma'am, you have the ability and to say, I want this teacher removed. How is this educating a child squabbling over the word ma'am? How is this educating kids that are here? Yes, I'm going to keep blaming Black parents. You're sending your child to people that hate them and got a long history of hating them. It has been centuries of this. And the fact that we still don't know what to do centuries later, yeah, it is our fault. It don't take all this time to figure out an alternative. And we haven't done that. So yes. So if you can't handle what I'm saying, then the best thing for you to do is unsubscribe and move on. But whenever harm is done to our children, I am going to speak out about it. And if you feel that I'm blaming, then maybe this is not the channel for you. You are the adult. Your job as the adult, whether you're working or not, is to protect your children. But if you see the person that's calling out a teacher for emasculating a little Black male child as the problem, then our community is really in deep trouble. There's a lot of things we can do, including forming groups of parents and homeschooling. You don't have to do homeschooling alone. There are Black parents that have come together, and in fact, I watched a video, and they pay a Black man that had finished college in child education, and they hired him to homeschool their children, and they pooled their money together in order to pay him. I've seen that. There's a lot of parents that are now looking at alternatives because they know how damaging public education has been to their children. The school year just started, and they're already dragging down these children. Look at the two stories about their hair. A little boy in Florida and a little girl in New Orleans. They're screaming about Black children's hair. What the hell does that got to do with educating them? What they're not going to learn because they got locks and braids in their hair? That's going to take their ability to learn? See, these folks have all of these policies in place that are harmful to our children. And that is something Black parents, rich or poor, can address. Why do your school have these policies that harm our children? And who came up with these policies? And when you wrote these policies, why were the parents not involved in these policies when they were written. I can tell you those policies were not written by any Black parent. Now, I'm happy this parent got her child out of that classroom. She did what a mother should have done in that circumstances. But I still wouldn't be happy with that teacher being there. I don't believe that she is making a good contribution in a classroom by whining over a child calling her ma'am. In fact, she took away from the education of all of the students by doing that to one student. We have no choice in this country but to take full control and responsibility of our children's education. If we don't do this, you're going to have a child so messed up psychologically. So you tell me, what's cheaper? To build your child's self esteem up and educate them, or years later, them going through legal system and you hiring lawyers to try to keep them out of prison because of all the damage that's being done to them now? And we got to stop acting like our children are not worth protecting, because when I read your comment, it's almost like you're sounding like our kids are not worth protecting. You got to go to work. Now, maybe you didn't mean to come off like that, but that's what it certainly looks like. And my answer to you is you need to get your priorities straight. Either you are with your child when things go wrong, or you're not. We should never fail to protect our children against a system that's not in their favor from day one. And I'm going to continue to do these stories. So, my thing is, if you want to go to the channel where Black people don't do anything about the situation because they're poor and they have to work, then go find those channels and listen to those folks. But on this channel, if you're rich, protect your children. If you're poor, protect your children. If you're rich, educate your children. If you're poor, educate your children. If you're rich, build up your child's self-esteem. If you're poor, build up their self-esteem. And don't let any devil teacher take that away from you, rich or poor. And I will continue to blame parents, because you are the ones that are supposed to protect your kid when they are traumatized by these teachers. They have done more harm than good. There's a reason for this. I want you to go and look at the number one killer of Black children on the plantation, and you will understand why we are seeing such things even to this day. Why are we not learning? Why are we still ignorant and not learning? So I'm not going to apologize for how I feel. School came from your enemies. That's not of the Most High at all. That's where that came from. They needed to be educated. They needed school. We never needed that. When our people came over here, when they were kidnapped, they were carpenters. Many of them knew medicine. They were inventors. The women were outstanding cooks and mothers. Our people ran businesses. Why don't you look at the merchant class of West Africa? Because those are the people they plucked out of there. And look at the stories where they wanted a specific slave that knew how to farm. They didn't want just any random Black person snatch. They wanted the expert farmers. That's how we came over here. And guess what? We did it without going to school. These were trades we passed on to each other. Families educating their own children. And how did we end up with more knowledge than the people that kidnapped us? They need school. And we have accepted that we needed to. Nobody was going to school. All of this is their doing. They need school. And even with school, I can tell you these trolls will come and still can't write a sentence. They're so busy calling you stupid, they don't realize their sentences don't even make sense. The words are spelled wrong. The sentence is run on, it makes no sense. But these folks want to come and call someone else stupid. That in itself will send you laughing. But this is the way it is. Just because our circumstances are as they are, it doesn't mean you can't do things for your kid. So you're making a living is above and beyond looking after your children. And I think that's a shame. That's a shame for any parent to have that kind of attitude. And then feel you are right in what you're saying. And you're not. But ladies and gentlemen, you can give your opinion. If you think I'm wrong, then so be it. But I am going to always speak out against those that are harming our children. So if any of you have a problem with that and you don't like what I'm saying or how I'm saying it, then maybe it's best that you're not subscribed to me. That's all I can say. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.